We're just a couple days away from the remake of one of my all-time favorite video games, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. 20 years ago, this game came out and changed my perception of what a Mario RPG could be. I understand why Nintendo opted to remake this game over the original, but that got me thinking about all the incredible fan mod projects keeping Paper Mario 64 alive. So Daniel and I decided to try some out. Here's what we discovered.
I feel like some people are a bit intimidated by the word mods. You're taking something you know and love and changing it into something unfamiliar. To a lot of us, that's very exciting. Modifying a game that we grew up with, like Paper Mario, is a great way to give it a fresh, new experience. And mods for this game run the gamut, from simple skin swaps to entirely new modes built from the ground up and using the Paper Mario formula to carry it. This, however, is one of the former. Paper Toadette is a nice little warm-up to the modding scene for this game. It takes the entire base game and, well, deletes Mario. He sort of pulled a Super Luigi U and just pieced out today. In his place is Toadette, implemented with entirely new custom sprites, poses, and animations. But the vast majority are crafted in a way that makes it look as though she was part of the Paper Mario franchise all along. There was a very specific couple of sprites made for the map menu, a spot that a lot of people probably never even need to visit. And that's just an example of how much attention to detail is here, despite being a relatively smaller mod in scope. There's some model swaps out there that just switch the characters out and call it a day. I definitely felt like this is what I was in for, but I was pleasantly surprised to discover that beyond that, the script was carefully altered to consider Toadette as a natural part of the story. And not just replacing all of the he's and his with she's and hers, there's like actual contextual changes. In the letter to Mario and Luigi, Peach laments over how Mario is on his own adventure, but recalls Toadette is visiting, so invites her instead. Or how when snooping in Peach's room, the dialogue says that Toadette would look great with Peach's cosmetics. There's a lot of little tiny changes to the script that makes it so much more charming than just playing a mod that only swapped in Toadette and kept all the Marios in the dialogue. One of my favorites is when you go back to Mario's house, the mailbox says that it seems Toadette's letters have been arriving here now too. Very mysterious. All in all, this is really cute and certainly a win for Toadette fans. If you want to have a run of the original Paper Mario without any changes to difficulty or overall layout of the game, then this is a fun one to start with.
Next up, Paper Mario All Bosses. This mod had me pulling my hair out. It's exactly what it says it is. It pits you against every chapter boss all at the same time. This is full-on madness. I'm sure someone better than me could breeze through this, but for myself, well, yeah, they tore me to shreds. The nice thing about this is if you're playing on a brand new file, the game asks you if you want to start in the new area and will gift you max coins, max stats, max partners, and all the game's badges, so you can go into the fight as prepared as you need to be. Then you hop on into the fight and be prepared to learn what it means to feel fear. And impatience. The game slows down so much because of all the enemies. Turns take eternities, so you best be ready. I've only managed to get as far as defeating the Goomba Bros, Goomboss, and Toot and Koopa. I did try going in with a stone cap to keep Mario safe and just let my partners handle it, but every single time I did, Toot and Koopa would use his chomp crushing move that disables your partners if they take damage. I don't know if it was programmed to do that, but after the third try, I abandoned that strategy. If you're looking for a fun, if not slow and unfair Paper Mario challenge, ow, give this mod a try.
Is Paper Mario just too easy for you? Do you want to utilize partners, items, and badges in a way that you'd never considered before, with just a bit of masochism thrown in? Paper Mario Master Quest is a mod that was so difficult they had to tone it down to a junior version so people could actually complete it. This is Master Quest Jr., where the game still has increased difficulty in battles, and not just enemies with more HP and strength. Well, that is the case for some bits. The moment I hit this tree to take out the Goomba King's henchmen in turn 1, they, did not go out in turn 1. Well, that's how it's gonna be, huh? Instances like those aside, there's completely new enemies, like a recolored Goomba brother, now called a Bagoomba, or the devious spiked Paragoomba. What, this early in the game? This makes things like the hammer throw badge a necessity. As someone who has played this countless of times, I knew exactly what badges to bring when the time called for it. Thankfully, some badge costs have been adjusted. There's also some badges with an altered effect, like how Close Call becomes Hold Fast. If you really hate yourself, you can equip the Double Pain badge from the Thousand-Year Door. Just, you know, in case you're not suffering enough. Something I had no idea when going into this was the new areas added on. Some rooms have been inserted between others, adding to exploration. And a lot of, I guess I'll come back here later moments since I don't have the right hammer or boots. But some of these have a lot of effort and thought put into them. Shooting Star Summit feels like an entire proper area now. Feels like it fits right in too, you know? And what? A whole massive structure called the Star Temple is here too? After certain points in the story, you can rematch some of the bosses in the game. This, as you might imagine, is harder than the previous battle, so you're in for a ride. Oh, this game has its own pit of 100 trials too, and boy, the presentation was bigger than I was expecting. Near the very first area of the game, there's a hidden temple, and man, I love this stuff. Imagining what's hiding behind an area that's always been there in a mod, like, it's unofficial, sure, but it's so cool to imagine what's in a place you've never been to before. It's as though it was always there for you to explore, and it gets you excited, especially if it's done well. There's a few spots that tell me I gotta get good before I can go further, and oh, by the way, it's like a freaking torture chamber down here. Alright then. So don't make this place be the first thing you do because, ooh, you'll get rocked. I literally couldn't do anything against a crew of spiked Paragumas and just had to accept death. Oh, also, there are some really funny changes to the script, some that make no sense, but it is great. So, this isn't Merlin, this is Donlin. He says his profession isn't important, but he's pretty much from the Mafia. It isn't the stars that tell him of important, profound matters, it's his associates. That long rant where he talks so much that Mario falls asleep, it's pretty much a story about his gang taking out another gang, using Italian slang, and ending with, and then everybody died. This shouldn't be as funny as it was to me, but the absurdity of it, and considering that it fits with the Paper Mario feel given the way that the 1000-Year Door is, it kinda makes it believable. I love these games. I think Master Quest Jr. is suitable for most people unless you really want to go off the deep end, then go for the full Master Quest challenge. It's a pretty excellent expansion to the Paper Mario slew of mods, notably for those who think that the original game is just too easy.
I had no idea what to expect going into Paper Mario Cooking Princess, but I was pleasantly surprised. The citizens of the Mushroom Kingdom want sweets, and they want them now. So, it's up to Princess Peach to bake me a cake as fast as she can while dodging toads, falling into hot lava, and more. The mod is modeled after Overcooked and has Peach gathering ingredients, mixing, baking, and decorating cakes before the orders expire. You'll be running to finish your cakes as fast as possible for the best score. This mod really impressed me. It's amazing that all of this was built on top of the existing Paper Mario. There are 5 stages to play, and they all have their own unique gimmicks. Peach's Castle is the standard level, letting you figure out how the game works. Toad Town has Peach cooking right in the middle of the street, so she'll be wading through toads as she tries to take her cakes from one side of the street to the other. Shy Guy's Toy Box is a really fun one. Instead of filling orders for everyone, Peach is only taking orders for Gourmet Guy. He literally sits at the delivery station waiting for his food. What's neat about this one is that the countertops slide from side to side, forcing Peach to replot her course over time. The final 2 levels are Mount Lava Lava and Shiver Mountain themed. These are by far the hardest of the bunch, as Peach can fall into the lava or the freezing water, losing whatever she was working on in the process. I definitely got frustrated trying to beat these 2 levels, but, you know, it's just as frustrating as Overcooked, and that's awesome. It's a fairly short experience, but replayable if you want to aim for 3 stars on each level. Honestly, this mod is Paper Mario only in name. If mods can get this weird and experimental, I can't wait to see what people come up with next. But the mod coming up next is far and away one of the most fun experiences I've ever had playing a fan mod. This is Paper Mario The 1000-Year Door 64. And no, it's not a recreation of the 1000-Year Door in the 64 engine. This mod adds a bunch of features from the 1000-Year Door to the original Paper Mario experience. Partners have HP. You can defend in between turns. There's a full pit of 100 trials, recipes and badges from the 1000-Year Door. And you even upgrade partners by finding shine sprites. It's so cool! When you start a new file, you can decide what difficulty you want to play on. There's standard, hard, death, and, well, baby. I don't know if I can unsee this. You can decide where your playthrough starts, too, meaning you can skip the entire opening and begin when Mario falls off the veranda in Goomba Village. This is a nice feature and made it easier for me to just dive in and see what's new. And there's a lot of new, even on top of the new features. Because of all the new shine sprites and badges, they added a bunch of new areas to explore. Even right here where Mario lands in the beginning of the game, there's a path hidden behind these bushes. Stuff like this is hidden everywhere. Right after getting the hammer, you can find a cave that has a Whack-A-Monty minigame. There's more unique minigames hidden throughout the game in addition to this one, so I won't spoil them if you want to try the game for yourself. I played through the game on the hard difficulty, and was surprised at how much the Thousand Year Doors mechanics, paired with higher difficulty, fundamentally changed the Paper Mario experience. I had to be really careful about how I used my items, the way I set my badges, and how to best utilize my partners to protect Mario from damage. I went into the Koopa Brothers boss fight with 15 HP and had a legitimately difficult time. I was planning to mostly put upgrades into badge points, which I did, but by the end of the game, I had to give myself 30 HP just to survive. Enemies can even carry badges and items, and they change the gameplay a lot. Sometimes they'll just freeze you for 3 turns, and next thing you know, you're pummeled to death with no way to stop it. Thankfully, Parakarry was given a new move called Parcel Check, allowing him to steal items from enemies. Goombario also got a new move, since Charge is available as a badge. Instead, he gets Multi-Bonk early, and his Ultra Rank move has been changed to Ponder. This is essentially Rally Wing from the Thousand Year Door, and lets Mario take an additional turn. By the end of the game, I had Mario doing 16 damage per turn with his normal jump, so this really came in handy. Speaking of the end of the game, I finished the playthrough with the Pit of 100 Trials, and it was a trip. There is a unique boss to be found, but I won't spoil it for you. There's also new enemies to be found as well. All the systems from the Thousand Year Doors Pit of 100 Trials are intact as well. Every couple of floors you might run into a mover Yoshi, who can move you through the floors for money. The badge shop guy will also appear to sell you regular items, and the items get more expensive the further down you get. Every 10 floors you get a new badge, and as far as I know, every single badge you get is exactly the same as the one found in the Thousand Year Door, including the strange sack about halfway down. Lastly, at the end of the game, you can choose to do a New Game Plus, retaining your levels, stats, badges, and items. Maybe I'll go ahead and give the hardest difficulty a try. Or maybe I won't.
Paper Mario The Black Pit. If you're a fan of Paper Mario battles, the Pit of 100 Trials, and roguelites, then this is the mod for you. After Mario gets Alice in Wonderlanded into an underground tunnel, Beetle over here scoops you up and basically forces you down into the pit to discover a way out. God, this guy is so creepy. Like, what is he? Why is he the most human character in this world besides the Mario Brothers and Peach? And why is the Pixar lamp growing out of his head? Anyway, once you realize you're nowhere near prepared to make it to the bottom floor, you get sent back and are introduced to a few more characters. Your main goal will be collecting coins in the pits, and Fishmail here keeps track of all of them in the bank. Chuck Christmas will allow you to customize your clothes as well as items to decorate the dungeon you're in. Oh, great, I'm sure a picture on the wall will help us forget our starvation and impending doom. Finally, Oakley will be your main source of purchasing permanent upgrades and badges to aid you. It ain't cheap, so you'll be grinding out a lot of coins. As far as gameplay goes, there are 2 different pits to dive into. Classic is your usual Pit of 100 Trials, and since you start with no stats or partners, you'll definitely be needing some upgrades. Every enemy drops coins, and if you fall in battle, you'll be forced to give up half of them. But of the 2, you'll mostly be spending your time in the roguelike pit, which is the real draw of this mod. In this, you'll always enter with 10 HP and 5 FP with no badges or partner. Each floor has some kind of obstacle or trap for Mario to overcome, or ignore if he doesn't have the right upgrade to interact with it. Sometimes it's the recognizable block or destructible wall, or it's using a key on a padlock. Other times it's using a partner to utilize a spring, or give up health to unlock it. The prizes from these vary from badges to items to pure coins. Sometimes you can find a really good healing item or badge early on, or not. It's really the luck of the draw, as is the case with roguelites. Every 10 floors you'll come across a big chest, which will have a partner and a badge for you. You can buy items from Rolf or sacrifice stats for a powerful badge. It's really up to you how to best manage your resources. Nothing except coins will be retained after you exit the pit, and jumping back in resets everything all over again. I never considered Mario ever doing anything akin to a roguelite, but when you blend it with the format of the Pit of 100 Trials, it works out so much better than I expected. I am tempted to open each chest just to see if maybe it's something that'll actually help me survive down here. This pit is scary, man. I was fighting for my life constantly down here. Battles, by the way, play very similarly to other mods made by L. Dexter. You can do stylish commands like it's the Thousand Year Door mod. That's so nice. Since you get partners randomly, I found myself using them in ways that I never thought I would before. Look at this! Lackluster is actually useful! I think he got more use in Spotlight in the 20 minutes he was available to me in this mod than he actually ever did in the original. It's pretty well thought out, and there's even in-game achievements. Wow, we've really launched into the future. I think probably the only thing for me is, since this is a roguelite, battles can be kind of a slog. Like, the first 10 floors of this pit can feel kind of redundant. There's not much room for variety until the 10th floor, where you get a guaranteed partner, your badge, and items that you can purchase. But that is essentially what you were signing up for. The gameplay loop is pretty much just as advertised. I've somehow find myself almost accidentally playing more roguelites lately, like completing Splatoon 3's side order. And I'll likely be going back to see just how far I can make it down into the black pit.
And those are some of the coolest Paper Mario mods we've seen. Want to give a shout out to all the mod developers in the description below. El Dexter, I know you did a lot of the ones that we featured today, but seriously, they're super cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. If there's any Paper Mario mods that you all know of that we didn't try here today, let us know in the comments below. And now that the 1000-Year Door is about to come out, I guess you won't hear from me for approximately 25 to 30 hours. That may or may not all be at once. We'll find out. But until then, keep the games good and the vibes greater. Bye now.